Hey Fab Girls, can a city or a place make a difference to your personal style and even maybe make a difference in how you feel about yourself? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you how being in New York has not only changed my personal style, but also how I feel about myself. If you're new to my channel, and even if you're just coming back, welcome. It's so wonderful to have you here. I'm Tracy Gold, if you don't know me, and it's my passion to bring you fashion tips that make you look and feel fabulous. And I happen to be doing that from the rooftop of the apartment that I'm staying in with this gorgeous view. And it's getting a little evening. It's definitely not sunset time yet, so there's enough light for me to do this video. Well, Fab Girls, I really just want to share with you what my experiences have been, and I'm doing so in hope that it will also maybe make you start thinking differently about yourself and how some environments or maybe internal environments can make a difference to how you feel. So what do I mean by internal environments? Well, I think sometimes certain things are external, and certain aspects, being around certain people, being in certain instances, in environments and cities, can make a huge difference to how you feel about yourself. At the same time, sometimes we have to decide to give ourselves permission to feel differently. So I want to share with you a couple of things that have shifted for me since being in New York. Now, as you may know, I've been spending quite a bit of time here, so it's starting to kind of take on and start feeling like home and feeling like this is where I really want to be, which is great since I'm moving here, right? You may have heard me say before that in New York, anything goes, and it really is true. In fact, the other day I was going to leave on the subway, and the pants that I was wearing, they were vintage, a vintage leather pair of pants, and the zip, funny enough, is actually in the back, and the zip broke. It was very interesting. Luckily, I was with Dawn, who some of you will know if you've watched my channel, and she gave me a black top to just tie around my waist so that I didn't, flash myself on the subway. But then I got to thinking, actually, would anybody even really notice? So I sent a message to her and said, thanks for the top because you literally saved my butt. But it was an interesting thought in a way. Like, I thought to myself, I wonder if anybody would have even noticed that I had a bust zip and I was flashing my ass around the subway. That being said, I didn't want to be doing that. But it did make me think about how this city has a way of making people feel comfortable and really able to just be themselves. It takes a lot to stand out in New York, and even if you stand out, they don't mind that. Now, I know a lot of you don't live in New York City, and that does make a difference. However, it has given me a sort of freedom to experiment with my personal style in ways that I haven't really before. So I am limited with the kind of clothing that I bring because I have to pack so light because I'm bringing my collection with me. But I have to say that going home, I'm going to start thinking differently about my wardrobe and differently about my look, and combining crazy things together just for the fun of it and exploring a bit more. The other thing that has changed for me is purely on a practical level, which has then led me to appreciating my body for what it is. So on a practical note, let me tell you girls that living in New York, you have to wear comfortable shoes. So high heels is just not going to do it. Even some of my flat forms, I found with the heat and the humidity, my feet are just swelling and it's horrible, and I'm just ending up with really big blisters on my feet. Not a good thing when you're walking around New York. So flat shoes, girls, have been my go-to. And in fact, a friend of mine who knew me from quite a few years ago, a dance teacher, said to me, she laughed at just the thought of it because she always knew me wearing my high heels as like everyday wear. Well, not anymore, and certainly not in New York. So what this has done is it's given me the freedom to just play with flat shoes and enjoy them, and to really just find some stylish options because, they're not just tennis shoes around, right? Or sneakers. There are some amazing, fabulous things. And in fact, I'll be doing a video soon on how to wear flat shoes with style. So you can check that out later. Okay, so now this is the big thing that has been so interesting for me, is that the practicality of having to wear flat shoes has also meant that I've come to terms with my height. So you may not realize, because a lot of girls don't realize, I'm only 5'2.5", which means I'm pretty short. And most of my life I felt like I've always needed to elevate myself. Well, now that I have to wear flat shoes because it's just not stylish hobbling around in heels or in shoes that are so uncomfortable that you can barely walk, I've come to terms with my height. It's actually quite freeing. It's actually quite fun. So sometimes those circumstances that we go through, and I think as women, as we get older, that does happen. You know, some of us can't wear high heels anymore. We just simply can't do it. And so that is sometimes an opportunity to just really find some styles that work for us and are comfortable at the same time, and come to terms with things that we cannot change. The other thing that I have found really exciting is that I'm very pale, as you may have noticed. You know, I'm really pale, and I was teased in school about it. It was not cool to be pale at my age, you know, when I was a kid. And so I've kind of tried all the self-tans and things like that, and I actually have found a very good one from Ireland that works quite well, just to take a little bit of the, you know, the glare off of my skin. But I have to tell you girls, being in New York, I haven't really used it, and I've actually quite enjoyed my pale skin. I reckon my legs are pretty much the same color as my shoes. If I'm wearing pointy flats that are nude, then it really looks like an extension of my foot, and it makes my legs look longer, and so it's just all working. So I have found that New York has had a really positive effect on me, on how I feel about myself, how I feel about my clothes, how I feel about my personal style. That being said, I'm going to take this stuff back with me to South Africa when I go home for a few weeks. And then when I come back again, it's going to be a process moving to New York. Yes, it's going to be a process. Anyway, I'm hoping to really just integrate this within myself, and I'm hoping that this will inspire you to maybe do the same. You know, I know maybe you're in the same circumstances that you've been for a long time. Maybe you live in a city that's not as open as New York, is not as expressive and creative, but maybe you can be that anyway. And maybe now is the time, when you cannot wear heels anymore, or when your feet are hurting you when you do, to just come to acceptance of who you are and the beautiful and gorgeous woman that you are. So ladies, I hope you have found this inspiring. Please let me know in your comments below. I'd love to hear what your experiences are and how in the different stages of your life you've come to love and accept yourself more. That's the great thing about getting older, right? Is we actually become more confident. Also, if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you don't know about my big giveaway that I'm doing in the next few weeks, I'm giving away a watch that is worth over $850. So the way you can enter that competition is to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can go onto my channel and binge watch and comment as many times as you like on all different videos. And each comment goes as an entry to the competition. And then the third step is to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. So don't worry, I'm not going to be spamming you a whole bunch, but it will just give you the update on what I'm up to, the events that I'm doing, the videos that I'm doing, and tips in between. Also, when you do subscribe to my newsletter, it'll mean that you get a free download on how to look fashionable over 40. And who of us don't need that, right? So ladies, I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to see your comments and your thoughts, and also your video tutorial ideas, so that when I come back to New York in the fall, that I can hit it with some really exciting topics for you. Thanks so much, ladies. Till next week.